The rain fell hard on Seattle, washing the streets clean of another restless night. Inside a dimly lit apartment, Ethan Cole sat staring at the flickering light of his computer screen. The email was short, cold, and final. "We regret to inform you that your position has been terminated effective immediately." Just like that. Years of hard work vanished. Ethan had been a rising star in one of the country's top tech firms, sharp, driven, and destined for success. But corporate restructuring had no mercy. His dream job was gone, and with it, his sense of direction. The full days turned into weeks of silence. Ethan tried to apply for new positions but faced rejection after rejection. His confidence withered. He began avoiding friends, ashamed to admit he was struggling. Bills piled up. The fridge was empty more often than full. The once brilliant engineer was now surviving on instant noodles and fading hope. One night, he stood by his window overlooking the rainy streets and whispered, "Is this it? Is this all I was meant to be?" But in that moment of defeat, a thought sparked in his mind, one that would eventually ignite a revolution. "If the world won't give me an opportunity, I'll create one." The idea Ethan began volunteering at a local community center to keep his mind busy. There, he met dozens of unemployed young adults, brilliant minds who had been forgotten by the system. Some had degrees, others didn't. All shared the same pain of rejection. That's when an idea hit him. What if there was a place where anyone, regardless of background, could learn modern skills for free? A place that didn't judge by resumes or degrees, but by effort and passion. He had no money, no investors, and no space. But he had purpose, and that was enough to begin the first step. Ethan cleared out his tiny garage and set up 6 old computers he got from recycling centers. He called his program Rebuild. He started teaching coding, design, and entrepreneurship to anyone willing to learn. The first week, only 3 people came. 1 left halfway through. The second week, only 1 person showed up, but Ethan refused to quit. He believed every great movement starts with a single believer. He stayed up nights fixing computers, creating learning materials, and designing flyers. He walked miles across Seattle, posting them on bus stops, coffee shops, and libraries. The growth months passed. Slowly, people began to notice. Word spread. There's a guy teaching for free, and he actually cares. Soon, his garage overflowed with eager students, veterans looking to restart their lives. Single mothers searching for a second chance, teenagers trying to escape street life. Ethan taught with passion, not as a teacher, but as a leader who believed in every person who walked through his door. When his electricity was shut off one week, he held classes by candlelight. When his landlord complained about the noise, he moved sessions to the local park. Rebuild wasn't just a name, it was a promise. The struggle, but passion alone couldn't pay bills. Ethan was broke, exhausted, and often hungry. One winter morning, he collapsed from fatigue during class. His students carried him to the hospital. But when he woke up, he found them waiting outside with handmade signs that read, "Thank you for not giving up on us. Now it's our turn not to give up on you." They started a fundraiser, raising enough money to rent a small space downtown. Ethan realized something profound that day. Leaders don't rise when they strongest, they rise when others need them most. The turning point. With the new center, rebuild grew rapidly. Local media covered the story. Engineer loses job, creates free school to help others. Investors and nonprofits took notice. Within 2 years, Rebuild expanded to 5 cities. Thousands of people had learned new skills and many found stable jobs. Ethan was invited to speak at conferences, universities, and corporate summits. But every time someone called him a hero, he would smile and say, "I'm not a hero. I just refused to let failure be the end of my story." The leadership crisis success, however, brought new problems. Board members disagreed on funding. Volunteers burned out. Growth slowed. Ethan faced his toughest challenge yet, keeping his movement alive amid chaos. Some told him to step down. "You're not a businessman, Ethan," they said. For days, he wrestled with doubt. But then he looked around at the hundreds of people whose lives had changed because of Rebuilt. He took a deep breath and called a meeting. "We didn't start this to make money," he said. "We started this to make meaning. If that's not enough for you, walk away, but I'm not quitting." Half the room stayed, half left. But those who stayed, they rebuilt again. The legacy 10 years later, Rebuild became one of America's most impactful social innovation programs. Over 200,000 people had gone through its courses, learning everything from coding to business management. Ethan became a symbol of hope, a man who turned unemployment into empowerment. In a televised interview, he was asked what kept you going when everything fell apart. He smiled and replied, "The mountain never stops being hard. You just get stronger. Every fall, every failure, every tear builds the leader within you. You don't conquer the mountain outside, you conquer the one inside, the full circle." Years later, Ethan returned to the same company that had once fired him, this time not for a job, but for a partnership. Rebuild and the company collaborated to create free training for laid-off workers nationwide. Standing in the same building where his downfall began, Ethan realized the truth. Failure wasn't his ending. It was his beginning. He walked outside into the Seattle rain once more, smiled at the sky, and whispered, "Thank you for breaking me, because that's how I learned to build."